My name's John Sands. I started playing with Aimee. I play drums. I've been playing with Aimee since February, I think, '93.
Paul, I think like 1999. So I play bass and sing a little bit, a little guitar.
Julian, I play guitar, and I joined February of, God, what is this, 2004? So it's 2003 or 2002, I can't remember.
I'm Jevin, play keyboards, and I've been playing with Aimee for probably, I don't know, like 4 years.
I think touring for me is a lot more easy, is a lot easier than it used to be. It's probably a multifaceted, a three-pronged approach where, first of all, it's kind of knowing my limitations, which for me kind of translates into anything more than 3 weeks. I know I'm going to get kind of punch drunk and exhausted and start to wig out. So for any one leg of the tour, 3 weeks is kind of the limit.
I think she likes it more than she admits.
I mean, we tend to go out for about 3 weeks, and at the maximum. And for me, it's like 3 weeks, you're kind of starting to get your groove on. Maybe just maybe an extra week or two. Just kind of
More touring.
And the other thing is just having people around you that you trust and you like to be around because you're in such close quarters with people. Riding in a bus with like 10 other people, it's sort of like massive bunk beds in one very small cabin. So you have to kind of choose wisely, and they're the musicians in the band are really, really close friends of mine. So it's something I look forward to because I get to see them every day, and that's a real treat for me.
The people that you have around you, I think, make a big difference. I mean, I think that and it's a kind of a long process too. Is finding the right crew and finding the right band and finding the right people around you that you want to feel comfortable with. Being with 24 hours a day for an extended period of time. So I think that definitely helps.
How is she on the road? It's like, well, it's not her favorite thing, but she tolerates it as best I think as she knows she has to come out and do this. I think she'd be happy I really think she'd be happy just like releasing records and staying home. But the reality is that she tours, and I think she has gotten a lot better over the years about that.
I love playing with the guys because they're just so funny. To sort of catch their eye, and Paul will play some ridiculous bass riff and give me a look. It's just that is really fun, and it's fun to feel like you're connecting with people, and it's fun to have this shared experience that everybody in the room is kind of having a good time and in the same sort of way. That's a lot of fun. The part of standing in front of people and having them applaud you, I think it's always like I always feel like a little awkward about that, but how could it not be fun to be applauded? I don't know who my fans are. Mostly you can't really see people in the audience sort of specifically, but the times I can, there's young girls, there's older women, there's older guys. There's actually like a significant amount of probably guys, like 40 and 30s, 40s, like not super young. But there's young guys too. I can't. It's like the other night somebody came backstage. It was like a contest winner. This guy and this really young, hip-looking guy, and you're like, how does it just doesn't seem like I would necessarily appeal to I don't know.
All across the board, you got like teenagers and 30-somethings, and then you have these baby boomers. It's very interesting, and you can never predict what our audience is going to be like, except to say it's always going to be this hodgepodge of different ages and backgrounds and stuff. Yeah.
Especially since Magnolia.
Yeah.
After Magnolia, just opened it up to another whole generation. Again, people that discovering her for the first time.
I think that the success of the Magnolia soundtrack exposed me to a larger audience, some of whom liked my stuff enough to kind of seek it out, even though, as an independent label, we don't really have sort of money to kind of really spread the word in a way that people can't, like most top 40 acts. I mean, you can hardly avoid hearing about the new record that's coming out, but with us it's more difficult. We don't really have those resources, but I think it's sort of garnered maybe like just a larger audience of more dedicated fans.
She's just got a unique songwriting sense that's all her own, and her lyrics are just completely unique, I think, as far as what she writes about and how she sings them, and her melodic sense too. I can't really think of a comparison to anybody.
Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing that you have to, like, there's no rough edges that you have to kind of dovetail for her. They're
She's a
already
great
done.
editor.
Everything's, the form is just like
There's no
all
fat.
set up to
Yeah.
play. Like the form's perfect. Every song. There's
It's
not
true.
one that you have to kind of like muscle into shape somehow. Like,
Yeah.
okay, this one's got like 3 verses that are way too long. I'm gonna like have to do something to build it up. They just build on their own, like they're just perfectly written.
It's extremely well crafted music, and it's also music from the heart, and it makes it easy to play that music that's that good.
She's very eloquent. She has a way of joining, her heart and her mind in a way that very few writers do. A lot of writers tend to be very heady, or they tend to be very emotional, and Aimee has this incredible way of balancing, so you actually get both. And I think that's what makes her, for me, that's what makes her an incredibly satisfying writer.
She'll write a song that's very, very specifically about someone or something, and then her metaphor will be like general enough that it could be about anything. It could be about like relationship or love or loss or something, which is really I think that's a masterful songwriting quality, to be able to do that. And still, if you know the core of like what she's writing about, then it's kind of interesting to know the backstory or something.
I certainly have like a never-ending fascination with dysfunctional, disturbed people. And I kind of include in that category everyone that I've ever met. I don't think anybody falls outside of that category. I just think people are fascinating. I think their problems are fascinating. I think how they deal with their problems are fascinating. There's like a million different ways that people can go horribly wrong. It's just like the whole thing it's just so terrific. It's just so terrific. And so, kind of writing a song is like my way of sort of chewing over some, little conundrum. And I also really like to, if there's somebody I know and there's kind of something about them, I like to try to like get inside their head and sort of like, a lot of my first person songs are trying to, like an attempt to write from the point of view from somebody totally different. And I just love doing that. I mean, I love sort of, seeing if I can kind of get inside somebody's thing and kind of figure out like what they're thinking or why they feel how they feel. It's just like there's nothing more fascinating than that. I think that I spent an enormous amount of energy trying to solve the problem of how to get the record company to like me. It's like being in any kind of dysfunctional relationship, like how can I change their opinion of me? Or, how can I get their approval when you can't get their approval because they have a totally different agenda. I mean, they're never going to be on your agenda. They have a different agenda. And, they're all worried about their jobs and getting the next hit and what. They're thinking about a lot of different things, none of which is your music and if it's good or not. And so, my manager and I had to spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to sort of coerce or talk somebody into or manipulate or plead with people at the record company to just get anything done, like even the smallest thing done. And now, we just go out and do the thing. So there's like an immediate greater result from energy expended.
You have to play that game with A&R, what is a single? I don't hear this, it's like, you know what? I don't care if you hear the single. It's my label now. It's like, she's way happier.
When I write a song, I make a record, and then I sort of put it out there, and the feedback I get is all from, you know, people who have actually listened to it, and, you know, like are fans, and or, you know, or other musicians I respect. So, you know, the problem I used to have is that, you know, the music would have to go through this great wall of record company first. Then it would just smash up against the wall because nobody cared about whether it was a good record. It was all, you know, assessed for its properties. You know, it was sort of picked apart, you know, like, can we sell this? Can we sell that? You know, how can we change this? And so, you know, I never received any kind of positive feedback, like really virtually no positive feedback from the people that I had to play it for first. And that kind of, you know, started to give me the impression that, you know, it was a waste of time for me to make music because nobody liked it. But it was just, you know, I was playing it for these people who weren't really listening to it as music in the first place. So, you know, with the removal of that, I mean, it's really been great. It's like, you know, like me and my music and the people who like my music. And, you know, there's not millions of them, but the ones that do, and, you know, we're all having a good time.
She is hysterical on stage now. I think she's getting funnier as time goes on. This tour, I think she's actually the funniest she's ever been.
She has better on-stage timing than a lot of comedians I've seen. You know?
I think my secret suspicion is I think she's having a lot of fun being on tour. Contrary to all the, like, she doesn't want to be on the road thing. I think
Well, she has,
I think
the most fun
translates
she's ever
to her,
had. Yeah.
And she gets on stage and she's having a good time, so she just starts extemporaneously she's riffing.
She's riffing.
Well, I get a lot of positive feedback from them, you know, where I'll say something and they'll tell me that it was funny, so I go, oh, well, maybe I'll try that again, you know. Maybe I'll stick to that topic. I think the best thing is, you know, the best thing for me is to not worry about it. And if something pops into my mind, just to say it. And usually people are kind of with you, you know. I mean, I've definitely had some awkward silences. But I do have sort of a perverse sense of humor where I start to think that's funny and just laugh at, you know, for my own amusement.
I have a soft spot for Save Me. It's because it was a powerful, powerful track. When we played that, it came in, and it's like, we're going to come and do some demos and try some stuff out. And we played it, was like one take, and it was done. It felt awesome, and every time I play that, it's just, you know, her songs play themselves almost. It's like there's not a thing, every time I play one of hers, it doesn't really matter which song it is, they just sort of stay out of the way, they, you know, because she is so good at editing. There's no fat anywhere in the song, and I just try to stay out of the way, but that one particularly is one of my favorites.
Yeah, she's got a great set list.
Yeah.
I mean, every song on the set list is kind of like, with the form of the song, like the form of her show, every song, I look at the set list, like what's coming up next, and it's always, oh, excellent, we get to play. It's never like, I wish we didn't have to play American Pie or whatever. But no, she's great. I love Amateur. I love Sugar Coated, just because we can rock out on it. But I love all her songs.
I might have to throw it down for Deathly. I think Deathly is,
that.
it's, you know, it's usually the last song that we do for the night. It's just, I mean, it's such a, the construction of that song for me is everything that not only just great music, but great rock music should be. I mean, it builds up to like an incredible intensity and drops down at the, you know, the drop of a pin. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but it's just, it has so much drama and power in it that it's just incredibly fun to play.
It's hard to say. I mean, when I think of that question, what I think is what's the most enjoyable song to watch Aimee sing as I'm playing with her, which is more what it is for me. And that would, just what comes to mind is Wise Up, because it doesn't matter where we are, how many times we've done it, every time she sings that song, it hurts me in the most wonderful way. It just like rips me open, and I just can't believe she's up there doing it, and you know, people aren't evaporating in their seats because it's so devastatingly, you know, it's just, I'm again at a loss for words, but that's the one that it just gets me every time.
The songs that I like performing the most are the ones that are like the easiest to sing, or like this, simplest chords, or like the bar chords are hard to play. I mean, it's like really stupid considerations. Songs that I tell you what, like I definitely get to a point in the set or with certain songs where I go, this song has too many words. It's like 3 gigantic verses and pre-choruses and like a chorus with all these words. I think I've got to write songs with fewer words because because I start to forget them after a while. So I mean, I know that's that's sort of terrible, but I always have in my mind that New York audiences are sort of more cynical, sophisticated, and cool. But I mean, it really, I don't know. It depends. I almost think it depends sort of night to night, just to, what the crowd mentality is. Right. I mean. We get really great crowds in New York, but we get great crowds in Asheville, North Carolina, and it's hard to really know what the difference is. I'm always more nervous in New York because I have that impression that that they're super sophisticated and cool and have kind of seen it all, so they're going to be judging me and like more harshly. But I don't think that that's the reality.
In New York, for me, I've had different experiences where they're. Every now and then you get that New York crowd that's kind of like, come on, impress me. And then you have the other nights where they're just fanatical fans. And but this is the pressure is like, this is a pressure town. Everybody wants to do well in New York, so the audiences are used to I don't know, they're just used to a high standard. So it's always nerve-wracking a little bit, but love this town.
I don't, each place has its own. We've played much bigger places, which can be, which can both sort of lose intimacy in the quieter songs, but also create like a frenzied excitement when you're playing louder songs, and just like the sheer mass of people. But but it's easier to lose people's attention sort of at the people in the back third. So a smaller place has its benefits too. And it's kind of interesting to play Brooklyn though too, because Brooklyn is so the new groovy area. It's kind of like it's the new Manhattan. And our bass player Paul lives in Brooklyn, and he sort of gives me this impression of Brooklyn being sort of super groovy and cool. And last time I was here, I walked around with him, and it's definitely kind of it's not even up and coming. It's already here. Well, I never have played very many covers. We started doing Sweet Home Alabama because sometimes I take requests, and there's always the jackass who yells Freebird. So we were going to learn Freebird and play it as a punishment for the person who yelled Freebird. But then when we started listening to the Lynyrd Skynyrd record, we just all kind of remembered anew how great Sweet Home Alabama was. So we learned it. We learned it note for note, but the guys don't want to play anymore. We sort of did it for one tour, and they won't play it anymore because I don't know, it's sort of like a musician's pride thing. Like, we don't want to do a note for note cover, or, we got to learn something different.
That was a punishment for people that yelled Freebird.
Yeah.
That's how it started, and then she actually really started enjoying playing it.
So then we actually, as a joke, we decided that we would learn the song and play it the next time someone yelled Freebird. And we just actually ended up being a really fun song to play. And I think kind of word got out there on the internet and stuff. We were all her fans and stuff, like if you yell out Freebird, and now you're going to get Sweet Home Alabama. And it was fun. It was a fun cover, an unusual cover choice. Yeah.
Jevin's been trying to get her to play Hot Child in the City.
Yeah, I think that's our next.
We're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on another cover choice. It has yet to be determined. Something that because now I think I think too many people know now that we do a version of Sweet Home Alabama. Yeah. So I think the surprise factor is certainly elemental in that. And the other cover I did was of a Coldplay song. when the record was still popular. I don't know, that goes against the conventional wisdom for cover songs that you choose something old or whatever, but it's just it's the song "The Scientist," and it's such a beautiful song, and I just really felt like singing it.